Ever walked into a home improvement store to buy a water heater and felt completely overwhelmed? You've got tank models, tankless models, heat pumps, different fuel types, and price tags ranging from $400 all the way up to $3,000 or more. And the guy in the orange apron? He's pushing whatever they've got the most of in stock. Here's the truth. Most people overspend on their water heater by hundreds of dollars simply because nobody told them what to actually look for. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 things they never tell you before you buy a new water heater. These are lessons I've learned over decades of installing and replacing these units for homeowners just like you. Plus, stick around to the end, because I've got a bonus tip that could save you a few $100s on installation day. Let's get into it. Replacing a water heater is one of the biggest plumbing investments you'll make as a homeowner. Most units last somewhere between 8 and 12 years, so the decision you make now is going to affect your comfort and your utility bills for a long time. The good news is that once you understand a few key things the salespeople and installers don't always mention, you can make a confident choice that fits your home, your budget, and your hot water needs perfectly. So let's start with the first thing nobody tells you, and that's how to figure out which type of water heater you actually need. When most folks think water heater, they picture the big tank sitting in the garage or the utility closet. And for a lot of homes, a standard tank water heater is still the best choice. But there are 3 main types you should understand before you spend a dime. First, you've got your conventional storage tank water heater. This is the one most of us grew up with. It keeps a reservoir of hot water ready to go at all times, usually somewhere between 30 and 80 gallons depending on the size. They're reliable, affordable upfront, and straightforward to install. The downside is they're constantly heating that water whether you're using it or not, which costs you money around the clock. Second, there's tankless water heaters, sometimes called on-demand units. These heat water only when you turn on the faucet. There's no tank sitting there burning energy all day. Sounds perfect, right? Well, here's what they don't tell you. Tankless units cost significantly more upfront, often between $1,000 and $3,000 installed. And if you have a larger home where someone's running the dishwasher while another person is taking a shower, a single tankless unit might struggle to keep up. You may need 2 units, which doubles your cost. I've seen homeowners spend a small fortune on a tankless system only to find out they're taking lukewarm showers when more than one fixture is running. Third, there's the heat pump water heater, sometimes called a hybrid. These pull heat from the surrounding air and use it to warm your water. They're incredibly energy efficient, 2 to 3 times more efficient than a standard tank. But they need to be installed in a space that stays between about 40 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. And they need clearance around them because they're pulling in air. If your water heater sits in a tiny closet, a heat pump model probably isn't going to work without some modifications. So, how do you choose? For most homes with 1 to 3 people, a 40 to 50 gallon tank water heater handles things beautifully and keeps your costs reasonable. For larger families or homes where hot water demand is high and you've got the budget, tankless can make sense long term. And if you've got a spacious garage or basement in a moderate climate, a heat pump can pay for itself in energy savings within a few years. The key is matching the type to your actual household, not buying whatever the salesperson says is the newest and best. Now, let's talk about the second thing they never mention, your fuel source and what it really costs. Your water heater runs on one of three things: natural gas, propane, or electricity. And the fuel type you choose affects not just the purchase price, but your monthly operating costs for the entire life of the unit. If your home already has a natural gas line running to your existing water heater, sticking with gas is almost always the most cost-effective option. Natural gas water heaters heat water faster and typically cost less to operate than electric models. In most parts of the country, you're looking at roughly $200 to $300 a year to run a gas tank water heater versus $300 to $500 for electric. But here's what they don't tell you. If you currently have a gas water heater and you're thinking about switching to electric, or vice versa, the conversion costs can be brutal. Going from gas to electric means you'll need a dedicated 240-volt circuit run to the water heater location, and that's an electrician's bill on top of the plumber's bill. Going from electric to gas means running a new gas line, which involves permits, inspections, and a licensed gas fitter. I've seen fuel type conversions add anywhere from $800 to $2,000 to the total project cost. So, unless you have a very compelling reason to switch, my advice is to stick with whatever fuel source you already have. It'll save you a headache and a lot of money. By the way, if you're finding this advice helpful, you should know it's just a small sample of what I've put into my new guide, The Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It's packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let's continue. The third thing they never tell you is how to properly size your water heater. And getting this wrong is one of the most common and most expensive mistakes I see. Most people just replace their old unit with the same size. But what if the original installer got it wrong? Or what if your household has changed since that water heater was put in 15 years ago? Here's a simple way to figure out the right size. For a tank water heater, you want to think about something called first hour rating, not just the tank size in gallons. The first hour rating tells you how many gallons of hot water the unit can deliver in the first hour of use. That matters way more than the raw tank size because it accounts for how fast the unit recovers. As a general rule, for 1 to 2 people, a 30 to 40 gallon tank with a first hour rating of about 50 to 60 is plenty. For 3 to 4 people, you want a 40 to 50 gallon tank with a first hour rating around 60 to 80. For 5 or more people, look at 50 to 80 gallons with a first hour rating of 80 or higher. To figure out your peak hour demand, think about your busiest morning. How many showers are happening? Is the dishwasher running? Is someone doing laundry with hot water? Each shower uses roughly 20 gallons. A dishwasher load uses about 6. A load of laundry with hot water is about 7. Add those up for your busiest hour, and that's the first hour rating you need to match. For tankless units, sizing works differently. You need to calculate flow rate in gallons per minute. A typical shower uses about 2 gallons per minute. A kitchen faucet uses about 1.5. Add up everything you might run simultaneously, and that's the flow rate your tankless unit needs to handle. Most whole house tankless units deliver between 5 and 10 gallons per minute, so do the math before you buy. Now, the fourth thing nobody tells you about is that yellow energy guide label on the side of every water heater in the store. Most people glance at it and ignore it. That's a mistake, because that label is trying to save you money. On that label, you'll find the estimated yearly operating cost and something called the uniform energy factor. Think of it as a miles per gallon rating for your water heater. The higher the number, the more efficient the unit. A standard gas tank water heater might have a uniform energy factor, around 0.58 to 0.65. A high-efficiency gas model might hit 0.7 or higher. Electric tanks usually land between 0.9 and 0.95, and heat pump models can reach 2.0 or higher, which is why their operating costs are so much lower. Here's the real-world math that matters. The difference between a water heater with a uniform energy factor of 0.58 and one with 0.7 might only be an extra $100 to $150 at the store. But that more efficient unit could save you $75 to $100 a year on your gas bill. Over a 10-year lifespan, that's $750 to $1,000 in savings. So, spending a little more upfront on efficiency almost always pays for itself. Don't just look at the sticker price. Look at that yellow label and do the 10-year math. The fifth thing they never tell you, and this one catches people off guard constantly, is the installation requirements. Buying the water heater is only half the battle. What it takes to actually install it in your home can vary wildly, and those costs add up fast if you're not prepared. Let me walk you through what to check. First, venting. Gas water heaters need to vent combustion gases outside your home. Older standard units use a natural draft vent, which is basically a metal pipe that goes up through your roof. But many newer high-efficiency gas models require a powered direct vent or concentric vent that goes out through a side wall using PVC or CPVC pipe. If you're upgrading from a standard efficiency to a high-efficiency gas model, your existing metal vent pipe won't work. You'll need new venting, and that can cost $200 to $600 in materials and labor. Second, if you're going electric, make sure your electrical panel can handle it. A standard electric tank water heater needs a dedicated 30-amp, 240-volt circuit. A heat pump model has similar requirements, but also needs adequate airflow around the unit. If your panel is already maxed out, you might need an upgrade, and that's another expense nobody mentioned at the store. Third, permits and code. In most cities and counties, replacing a water heater requires a permit. I know that sounds like a hassle, but here's why it matters. A permitted installation gets inspected, which means someone double checks that the work is done safely. And if you ever sell your home, unpermitted work can become a real problem during the buyer's inspection. A permit typically costs between $50 and $150, depending on your area. Ask your installer if the permit is included in their quote. If they say you don't need one, that's a red flag. Fourth, measure the physical space. Check the height and width where your current water heater sits before you go shopping. Newer models are sometimes taller or wider than older ones, especially if you're upgrading capacity. I can't tell you how many times I've shown up to an install, and the new unit doesn't fit through the doorway or the ceiling is 2 inches too low. Measure twice, buy once. Let me walk you through some common buying mistakes so you can avoid them. The first is buying based on price alone. The cheapest water heater at the store usually has the lowest efficiency rating, the shortest warranty, and thinner insulation. You end up paying more over time in energy costs, and you might be replacing it again in 6 years instead of 12. The second mistake is ignoring the warranty. Water heater warranties typically come in 6-year, 9-year, and 12-year options. The difference in price between a 6-year and a 12-year model is usually only $75 to $150. But here's the insider knowledge. The 12-year warranty models almost always have a larger anode rod, or sometimes 2 anode rods, plus thicker insulation and better components. You're not just paying for warranty coverage. You're getting a better built unit. Third, people forget about the expansion tank. If your home is on a closed plumbing system, meaning there's a backflow preventer or pressure reducing valve on your main water line, most codes now require a thermal expansion tank. These cost about $40 to $60 for the tank and maybe another $75 to $100 for installation. If your plumber doesn't mention it, ask. Fourth, skipping the drain pan. If your water heater is installed inside your living space, like in a closet, attic, or upper floor, a drain pan underneath with a line running to a drain is essential. A leaking water heater without a pan can cause thousands in water damage. The pan costs about $15 to $20. Cheapest insurance you'll ever buy. Now, for that bonus tip I promised at the beginning. Before you hire anyone to install your water heater, get at least 3 quotes and ask every installer this question. Does your quote include hauling away the old unit? You'd be amazed how many quotes don't include removal and disposal, and that can be an extra $75 to $150 tacked on at the end. Also ask whether the quote includes the water heater itself or if it's labor only. Some installers mark up the unit by $200 to $400 above retail. In many cases, you can buy the water heater yourself and have the plumber install what you've purchased. Not all plumbers agree to this, but plenty will, and it can save you real money. Just make sure you bring your measurements, fuel type, venting type, and first hour rating requirements with you to the store. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It goes way deeper than we can in a single video, with 85 pages covering everything from clearing any clog to replacing your own water heater. If you want to stop wasting money on simple fixes, this book is for you. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Take your time with this decision. A little homework now saves you a lot of frustration and money down the road. I'll see you in the next one.